warning and a disclaimer. I'm about to play a Jena Griswold video that is horrifying, shocking, painful to watch, and even more horrifying and painful to listen to. Jena Griswold is arguably one of the worst, most corrupt individuals in Colorado. Her voice sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Her face is arguably one of the most punchable things I could see. Jena Griswold is a very stilted, very scripted, very unnatural, there's just something uncanny valley, very off-putting with her looks, with her demeanor, with how she speaks, with her words. Her voice alone is just so painful to my ears. It's a 29-second video. We're going to take a listen, and then we're going to break it down, because I'm sick of this election rigging witch continuing to spout her lies and deception and foment her own nefarious corruption in the state of Colorado. So let's take a listen.
Donald Trump says he pardoned Tina Peters. The only problem? He can't. He doesn't have the legal authority. Tina Peters was convicted in Colorado State Court of a state crime under Colorado law. This is what authoritarian politics looks like, rewarding loyalists who break the rules and attacked our elections, then trying to intimidate states into letting them walk free. I'm Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold. In Colorado, we answer to the law, not Donald Trump.
God, I can't. I was whinging in just pain. My internal organs were just like bound together, just hearing every syllable that came out of her mouth. Just look at the face. Look at that. Oh, it makes me sick. She continues to attack Donald Trump and Tina Peters because she knows that the DOJ is about to come in to the state of Colorado and drop the hammer on her and the rest of the Colorado commies. The DOJ has issued lawsuits to 22 different states in their request for unredacted voter roll data. Jena Griswold is digging her heels in. She is defying the DOJ's request. She is ignoring the lawsuit. She is stonewalling and slowing the legal process so that we are not allowed to get the unredacted voter roll data. Now, the bigger question is, why can't the federal government have access to the voter roll data? Why would that be an issue? If Colorado is such the gold standard of election process, wouldn't you think that Secretary of State Jena Griswold would be very compliant and willing and more than accommodating to the federal government to say, sure, here you go. Here's all the voter roll data that we use for our gold standard of election process here in Colorado. You think that would be the most likely outcome for a state that operates on the up and up, and a state that operates with honest and trustworthy elections. But no, we get a Secretary of State defying the federal government, arguing with the DOJ, refusing to release voter roll data. That is enough to tell me that something is happening here in the state of Colorado that should be looked into. If I had no prior knowledge to anything happening in the state of Colorado when it comes to election integrity, if I found out that my Secretary of State, and if I found out that my Attorney General, and if I found out that all of the aspects of my state government was doing everything they could do to defy and obfuscate and circumvent the DOJ's federal request for voter roll data, I would ask questions as to why. Seems pretty reasonable. It seems like a really reasonable thing to ask, right? That's where I'm coming from, and I just don't understand. Not only that, Jena Griswold has a laundry list of things that she herself has committed, whether it was leaking the BIOS passwords for 63 of the 64 counties in Colorado, 4 months online, whether it was her mailing out 30,000 show up to vote mailers for undocumented citizens who should not be voting, whether it was using the Tina Peters case to then consolidate and control the Secretary of State's office in their audit process, to consolidate power into the Secretary of State so that they can do internal audits and no one else can audit them. There is so much overt corruption within this administration, within this election witch. The election witch, Jena Griswold. She's an election rigger. She's the wicked witch of the election rigging West. She'll go out there. She'll tell you that she's following the rule of law. She'll tell you that Colorado follows the law. Well, you know what, Colorado? I have something to say for you. Why don't you follow the federal law? Follow the federal law and listen to the DOJ's requests, right? This is the double standard. Everything that she says, she is herself guilty of. This is typical Marxist behavior, typical Marxist ethos. Accuse your opponents that in which you are guilty of. Jena Griswold is part and parcel to all of that. And here's an interesting thing that I wanted to add to this little segment. Jena Griswold is running for Attorney General here in the state of Colorado. You can look up all of the candidate information on tracer.sos.colorado.gov. You can look up all of the candidates' information. And the funny thing is, this Tracer website is operated by, you guessed it, Jena Griswold. And here's something that I found that was rather interesting. How much money do we see Jena Griswold pulling in for her Attorney General run? Candidate expenditures, period end date. So this is filed on January 15th, 2026. This is relatively recent. Beginning balance was $0 plus total contributions, $1.47 million in contributions to her Attorney General run. Where is that money coming from? $1.47 million. Less total expenditures, $416,000, and an ending balance of just over $1 million as of January 15th, 2026. Folks, she is also under investigation for campaign finance violations, okay? So she's under investigation for campaign finance violations. She's got all these other things. She's got penalties stacked up, alleged failure to properly disclose contributor information. Okay, the status is open on that. The filings, she's reporting everything on time. But where's her money coming from? How did she accrue $1.4 million? So in the period of October to December, she raised almost $300,000. Where is this money coming from, folks? This is the first campaign finance report that Jena Griswold has submitted. Report period beginning funds on hand. She had $0. She had a goose egg. She had no money. As per this report, in mid-2025, Jena Griswold had $0 committed to her campaign. But in this period alone, she garnered $800,000 of monetary contributions, $10,000 in non-itemized, $100,000 in itemized expenditures. So with a grand total of just under $700,000 for this campaign period, she started at zero, and she somehow in just a few months pulled together almost $700,000 for her Attorney General campaign. Let's see if I can find some contributions. Let's see. We're just doing this, folks. We're doing this in real time, okay? You're telling me, wait. So there's no contributor, there's no address, there's no employer. We're talking $1 and $2 donations, but there's no information. Well, to be fair, anything under $20 you don't have to report. So in Colorado, anything under $20, you do not need to report your name or address or information. So these small dollar donations are, quote unquote, by the book, because you don't need to disclose that information. However, there is several pages here. If she's going to try to pass off that $1 donations 600,000 times, is that what she's really going to try to play? I'm going through the pages right now. I'm going through pages of it right now. We're on page 4 right now. All of these are $1, $11, like everything's $1. Where's the big numbers? How are we stacking big numbers? I'm kind of at a loss how she ended up getting $700,000 through $2, $1 donations. And where's this coming from? Pages of $2 donations, pages of small incremental donations. I have a hard time believing this, folks. This is just my personal opinion, that I feel like those small donations are something's up with that. We got obviously some more people with larger donation contributions here. Okay, so I would really like to know where she's getting that money. Oh, bunch of $10 donations, no names. $10 where? Who's doing that? This is all public information. Anyone can do it. The fact that she brings in almost $700,000 in 3 months, that's very interesting to say the least. But Jena Griswold is a scumbag. Jena Griswold is a piece of human excrement. And just the whole overarching theme of election corruption, election interference, Tina Peters, Jena Griswold, this head-to-head celebrity deathmatch battle of the ages here in Colorado. Tina Peters was trying to preserve election data from the trusted build that Jena Griswold was trying to install on the machines that actually did wipe the machine. And Jena Griswold, this goblin, weaponized the election process against her, and then the judicial system in Colorado limited scope, narrowed down the court hearings against Tina Peters, and threw the book at her to omit anything federal, to omit any sort of federal supremacy clause intervention into Tina Peters' case. And now we're seeing the weaponization play out in full effect. Jena Griswold deserves the full force of the federal judicial system weight against her. The full hammer needs to drop on not just Jena Griswold, but Jared Polis, Phil Weiser, and all of the like here in Colorado, because they're all corrupt. They're all working together to undermine our will and our right here in Colorado.